Hi guys, this is Taylor, and today I will be doing a big book haul of books that I accumulated while I was taking a break from YouTube, including a couple of packages that arrived a couple of days ago. Honestly, this is not even everything that I accumulated during the interim. This is just kind of like the highlights. The other ones are kind of scattered around, and it would really literally be like a 20-minute video, so I am going to try and keep this relatively short, so I'm not going to go into major detail about any of these. So let's get started. First off, I have upgraded my copy of Wuthering Heights with this beautiful edition. As you can probably tell, this is one of those like collectible Barnes & Noble editions. Some of them are not cute, but I think this one is very pretty. In a perfect world, I would read Wuthering Heights before the end of the year, but just don't know if that's actually going to happen. I also picked up Underground by Haruki Murakami. This is one of his few pieces of nonfiction, and this is about the 1995 Tokyo subway gas attack, and I guess kind of the effects that that had on the Japanese psyche. I've not read any of his nonfiction yet, actually, but I've heard really good things. Then I have two that kind of go together. These are the Vintage Book of International Lesbian Fiction and the Vintage Book of Contemporary Chinese Fiction, both beautiful volumes in my opinion. These are two types of fiction I am very interested to learn more about. They both feature a bunch of authors that I've never read before and some that I've never heard of before, so really excited about these. I did also pick up Here I Am by Jonathan Safran Foer, even though I did not read it when it came out last year. I pre-ordered it, I started it right when I got it. I got maybe 25 pages in, and I was just not in the mood for it. I also did not hear great things about it across the board, and it's pretty huge. So we'll see about this one. One that I saw at the library and decided to get for myself is A Fugitive in Walden Woods by Norman Locke. This is set in the 1800s and is about an escaped American slave who goes north and actually ends up heading into Walden Woods and encountering Henry David Thoreau and a bunch of other transcendentalists and abolitionists. And to go along with that, I decided to upgrade my copy of Walden, and I ended up finding this beautiful 3-volume set that includes Walden, A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers, and The Maine Woods. This set was actually published in the 90s, but they've aged really well, and both in design and in like their actual, like, they're still together, even though I was born in the 90s and I'm still together. Also picked up The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. I have still neglected to read any David Mitchell. He's an author that just really intimidates me. The Bone Clocks especially seems very kind of long and dense, and this particular edition, for whatever reason, weighs about 20 pounds. A book that gives me similar vibes for some reason is The Book of Strange New Things by Michelle Faber. Of course, a ton of people read this a couple years ago, mostly at the recommendation of Jen Campbell, and I was very lucky to find it discarded actually in this beautiful edition with the gold pages. I also have a book that I don't think I've heard anyone else talk about, and this is Burning Down George Orwell's House by Andrew Irvin, and I will be honest with you, I have no idea what this is about, other than the fact that it has a fantastic title. Next I have Infinite Home by Kathleen Alcott, obviously gorgeous. This follows the various residents of a Brooklyn brownstone and how their lives all weave together. I think it's supposed to be kind of quiet and unassuming, but in a good way. I also have Bending Adversity, Japan and the Art of Survival by David Pilling, and I'm just going to read from the jacket from this one because I think it sells itself. Earthquake, tsunami, nuclear meltdown. 3 interlocked disasters that simultaneously threaten Japan, but have somehow galvanized a strong national, political, and economic response. Bending Adversity is a portrait of a stubbornly resistant nation with a history of overcoming and transcending successive waves of adversity. I also picked up The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. I did look up how to pronounce his name, and I still don't know if I got it right because that seems wrong. But this is the first in a very popular sci-fi trilogy. I have always been drawn in by the very distinctive spines, and I thought it might be time to give it a try. Then I have Untangling the Knot, Queer Voices on Marriage, Relationships, and Identity. This is a collection of essays by LGBTQ voices, mostly on marriage equality and kind of the idea that there is a lot more work left to do. Next, I have a poetry collection, and this is The January Children by Sophia Elio. Sophia is my favorite up-and-coming poet, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting for her to release her debut poetry collection, and then she just did it. Like, right under my nose, and I missed it, and now I obviously have to catch up. I also picked up Without You, There Is No Us, My Time with the Sons of North Korean's Elite, simply because it seemed like a good time to learn more about North Korea. Next, I have Public Library by Ali Smith. This is a collection of short stories that I believe all have some connection to public libraries, and in a strange twist of fate, this was of course a discard from my own public library. I also have Coin-Operated Americans, Rebooting Boyhood at the Video Game Arcade. This takes a look at the popularity and rise of video game arcades, and I think what it means to be a woman occupying those male-dominated spaces. Next is Our Black Year, One Family's Quest to Buy Black in America's Racially Divided Economy by Maggie Anderson. This, as the subtitle does a pretty good job of explaining, is about an American family who decide to only purchase from Black-owned businesses for 1 year, and what it meant for them culturally and economically. I also have Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. This is supposed to be a prequel and response to Jane Eyre, and I am told that it will almost certainly boost my opinion of Jane Eyre, which I didn't love in itself. And lastly, before the unboxing, I have Spinster, Making a Life of One's Own by Kate Bollock. I've had my eye on this since way before it even came out, and then I just never bought it because I still don't know exactly what to expect from this book, whether it's a social history of modern spinsterism or kind of like a literal self-improvement title, but I'm excited for what it has to offer regardless. Alright, so the first box should have 2 books in it, and one thing that is not related, but it just got shipped in the same box. I get to use my rainbow knife. Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Oh dear. Yes. Okay, so yay. We have, so as you might have noticed, I'm on a little bit of a nonfiction kick right now, and a series that I decided to finally invest in properly is the Very Short Introduction series published by Oxford. They have hundreds of titles on pretty much anything you can think of, and they're still coming out with new titles. The first ones I got are Folk Music and Sexuality, which if you know me, that's pretty on brand. And this is a series that if you have a bunch of them lined up on your shelf, the spines will look all pretty together. Oh, and the other thing in this box is barley tea, because this is how we do it. And the last package I am super excited for. This came out semi-recently. This is The Phoenix Years by Madeline O'Day. So this came out in October and features 9 contemporary Chinese artists as kind of a way of revealing another side of China that we definitely don't get a lot of exposure to here in the Western world. And now looking at it in person, I really love the cover. I love the style of the cover illustration. So that is the end of this haul. I hope you enjoyed it. It's definitely been way too long since I filmed a proper haul. But I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!